I'm Mermaid Alissa. I am a professional mermaid. I swim at the East Idaho Aquarium. Today I am going to answer a couple questions that I get asked all the time as a professional mermaid. We're at the East Idaho Aquarium. The tank that you see behind me with the fish, this is where I usually swim. We have a show every Saturday, and this is my home. When people find out that I'm a mermaid, it kind of depends who they are. Some people just fully embrace it. Some people know a lot about mer culture and they'll say things like, oh, have you ever been here or seen this mermaid or know of this beach? But a lot of people are just shocked. And then a lot of people are amazed and think it's so awesome. And then some people think I'm just crazy. And I'm used to that, so it's okay. And then little kids are the most fun. I've taught school a couple years, and some of my students would come to the show and they just thought it was the coolest thing, and so they'd ask me, what happens to your tail? How do you get around? When do you have a tail? When do you have legs? And they fully embrace it, and the fact that I'm walking around as a human doesn't seem to bother them. They just expect that, oh, she's a human sometimes and a mermaid sometimes. So it's kind of fun. How do you open your eyes underwater? This is one I get asked a lot. You just open them. For me, I swim in saltwater mostly. The tank you see behind me, we have a lot of reef sharks, so their natural habitat is the ocean. If you've ever swam in the ocean, it is extremely salty. It's not like you put salt in your water, it's more of like you put water in your salt. It's fine for me under the water. The salt water doesn't bother me. But when you come up out of the water and the air hits your eyes, that's when it starts to burn. So we keep water bottles up top that we'll just rinse our eyes out with during the show and then afterwards. Chlorinated water actually really bothers me. It's a harder one to do because it's harder to wash the chemicals out of your eyes. But a lot of it is just more of mind over matter, kind of learning that you're going to be swimming with your eyes open, but you're not going to be seeing anything, because underwater you can see kind of colors and shapes, but you can't really see a clear picture as if you were wearing goggles. So usually I'll get in a new swimming habitat and I'll get in with goggles, kind of scope the area out, see what's going on. And then after that, I just have to tell my brain, basically I'm swimming blind, but my eyes are open. So it's a funny feeling. Do I have a favorite fish or aquatic animal? Actual animals I've interacted with, I think that the stingrays are my favorite. We have a stingray pond here at the aquarium. We have a bunch of cow nose rays, and they are almost like little puppy dogs. They're so friendly. They'll just come right to you. They just want to be pet. They want to be fed. They look like they're coming to say hello. I think they're adorable. But I love sea bunnies. They're a type of sea slug, and they just look like a little fluffy bunny rabbit. So I always tell everybody my mermaid sidekick would be a sea bunny. So I just think they're funny. And then I tell everyone that my spirit animal is a dolphin, because they just have great personalities. So you'll find a lot of video tutorials and different advice on underwater makeup. I just wear my normal makeup. But I always wear waterproof mascara. A common thing for people when they're out in water is to rub their face, rub their eyes. When my eyes are already open under the water and I come up, I don't really feel the need to rub my eyes because I purposely was letting water in there. So I try just not to touch my face. I wear Fenty Beauty. It's Rihanna's foundation brand, and that stays on really well. It's super nice. And then just very pigmented blush and eyeshadow, and you kind of look a little crazy above land, but you're also creating kind of a fantastical creature. So it's a little more of stage makeup. Put it on a little thicker. That way when you're in the water, it can kind of be seen. I just think everybody looks better underwater. One thing that I do stay away from is glitter, because if I'm doing a land mermaid meet and greet or a birthday party, I'll do all the sparkles. But if I am swimming, especially with wildlife, or in natural waters. I don't do sparkles, I don't do glitter, because those pieces chip off and the fish might eat them, or they'll get stuck in the filters, or they just pollute a lot of different things. So to respect the environment, I stay away from sparkles. So under the water, everything looks great. Your hair flows and you're smiling and it just looks so serene and beautiful. And above the water, your hair's in your face, you're coughing, your eyes itch, you're dirty, there's fish swimming with you, it's dirty water. A lot of times I feel more like a beached whale than a mermaid. A lot of times I feel more like a piece of sea kelp just kind of washed up on the beach. I get out of the shark tank and I smell like fish. It's kind of a double-edged sword because it creates such a beautiful thing, but at the same time, it's hard work, and watching behind the scenes is not nearly as glamorous as seeing the actual finished production. You know, the first time I got in the shark tank, I was a little bit nervous, but I was nervous because the girl that was training me told me that if I couldn't swim down to the bottom, I couldn't be in the tank. And with the salt water, it makes you extremely buoyant. So I was really worried. I'd never swam in salt water like that before, so I was very nervous, but it was more of the water than the actual animal life in there. There's kind of a respect that is built between performer and animal, and just kind of learning. I can read when they're agitated, and any form of life, you can kind of get a reading of their mood. So just learning to respect between the two and just working together. I don't even know how I got here. My first step, it was years ago. I don't remember how I discovered the whole mermaiding thing, but I found Mermaid Alissa on YouTube, thought she was amazing. Always wanted to be a mermaid. I used to pretend in the pool that I was a mermaid, and eventually it was, I think, my second year of college, and just looked like fun, and I thought, well, this will be a fun thing to just have in my life. I realized that people made tails, full tails that you could swim in that went with monofins. So I bought some fabric and made my own tail to go with the monofin I had. And I swam with that in a lake just for fun for a summer, and that was really great. And then I got asked to do a Renaissance fair as a mermaid. So I performed as a mermaid for my first time at a local Renaissance fair. I kind of got questions for birthday parties, and pretty soon I was kind of thinking, this is something that I really like. So I knew that the East Idaho Aquarium had a mermaid show. I walked in and asked to talk to the head mermaid and got signed up to come do a test swim. And then I came in, test swam, and became a mermaid at the East Idaho Aquarium. So I started performing in the shark tank. And then after a while, our head mermaid left us, and now I'm the head mermaid. That's kind of my mermaid journey, and it's really taken off and turned into a big thing in my life that I never would have expected or thought would happen. It wasn't even something on my radar. I just kind of fell into it. So it's been a lot of fun. Yes, it's kind of terrifying. If I know the body of water, if it's a lake, I have no problem. If it's the ocean, that is kind of a little bit scarier. I've never been really deep out in the ocean, so maybe that's why I'm scared of it, because I haven't experienced that. But there's just so much sea life that could be in there, and so many different things going on with the water, and different tides and currents and all that stuff. I can get to about 15 feet before I start to really feel the pressure. So the tank behind me that I usually swim in, it's 13 feet deep, and I'm very comfortable in that. There's been a couple pools I've been in that are 15 to 20 feet, and I get to about 15 and it starts to hurt. So that's when you need to start bringing in more freediving technique and other stuff that I'm not extremely trained in. But about 15 feet is my max, 13 is my comfortable, 10 is really nice, and 8 is no problem. So if you want to become a mermaid, especially like a performance mermaid or a professional mermaid or a mermaid that performs with wildlife, I think one of the biggest things is just learn, like just have respect for the environment you're in. A lot of people get really caught up in being a mermaid and it's super fun and they put on the tail and everything's coming together all magically, but then they end up in an area that they're ruining the environment or disturbing the wildlife or kind of making a mess of things. So just first and foremost, respect your environment, respect who you're working with, where you're at, where you're swimming, and then also be knowledgeable. Know the body of water you're swimming in if you're going to be swimming as a mermaid. Get any sort of information you can about how the water runs, how deep the water is, what to expect with the water, what kind of animals are there, just to know so that you're safe and so that the environment's safe. Another thing I would say is definitely practice holding your breath. Definitely practice your swimming skills. And just being aware of what your body looks like without having to look at yourself because you're blind under the water. So learning if I hold my hands a certain way, it'll look a certain way. If I hold my face a certain way, it'll look a certain way. Just good performance techniques. It's almost kind of a modeling ballet dance when you're swimming as a performance. Because you need to know without seeing, you need to know with feeling what's going on and what you look like.